Hey darlings, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for being here. If this is your first time on my channel, you're very much welcome. Make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. So today I'm going to show you how I made this shirt. It's a very simple shirt and it comes with a side pocket and a belt to it. It's a very casual shirt, and if you want to know how I achieved this, make sure you watch to the end. On the screen right here are the measurements required for this project, and I'll be leaving a link below on how to take a perfect measurement for your pants. Here I've taken off 1.5 inch because this pant is going to have a waistband to it and the waist is going to sit along this area. Okay, so the next thing you're going to mark is your hip line, then the crotch depth, the full length of your pants. Then this area right here is the hemming allowance for my pants. Also know that this pant is for a small to medium size pant, and the crotch depth of all pants are not the same. It is determined by size. I'll leave a link below on how to consider your size before you make a pattern for your pants. Okay, so right here also know that whatever your crotch length is, your hip line should be about 2 inches to 2.5 inches above the crotch length. So for the length of the pant, you can determine where you want the full length of your pants to be. You can choose to take it longer or shorter. So when you're done marking this reference line, we'll go over to the next level. Also worthy of note is that it's good to ask someone else to take your pants measurements for you so that you can get a good or accurate measurements for your pants. Okay, so we're going to start off with marking in the hip line measurement. This is your hip measurement, circumference of your hip divided into 4. You mark one of them here, adding 1/2 inch is right here, and you're going to mark it right there. Mark the same right here and then connect it up to the waistline. Then from this point you're going to add 2 inches right there on the crotch line. If you're a plus size, please extend it to 2.5 inches. Then on this angle you're going to be marking in 1 inch right there. This will help you as an indicator to curve out the crotch line, and you're going to connect it to this point right here. Next, mark the midpoint of this crotch measurement, and then you're going to mark it both on the full length line of your pant and then on the waistline of your pant. Then you connect it together. Next, you're going to mark the waist measurement, and to mark your waist measurement, you're going to divide your circumference of your waist by 4, and then you're going to add 1 inch for your dart and then 1/2 inch for ease. Whatever you get there, you mark from that crotch line to this point. Then the next thing you're going to do right here is to connect this point right here down to your hip line and to the crotch line with a curved line. So next we are going to be marking the thigh measurement. You're going to measure one of your thighs where you want this pant to sit. That is where you measure the full length to be. You're going to measure it round, divide it into 4, and whatever you get, you're going to place it on one side of this line of the pant. That is the press line of your pant, like this. You divide it by 4, take one of it, add your ease measurement to it depending on how you want the fitting to be. You're going to mark whatever you get on one side of this pant, and then you move your tape to the other side of the press line and mark the same right there. Next, you're going to be connecting this to the crotch line, and then at the other side, which is the crotch side, the inseam side, you're going to first of all connect this point with a straight line for further adjustments. The next thing I did was to find the midpoint of this line. Then I'll go in by 1/4 inch right there, as you can see it here. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark a curved line from this crotch line down to the full length right there. This will aid some of us that do not have a ruler for marking pants. So right there it is. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to extend this pant to the hemming allowances. You can leave it like this, but I'm just going to mark 1/2 inch at the sides of it, just to make sure that it rhymes when I'm going to hem it to the pants. I'm going to make further adjustments to this later on. So here I'm going to mark the dart allowance, which is 1 inch, 1/2 inch across this dart line. After marking this, we're going to consider the length of the dart, which I'm going to be leaving at 5.5 inches, including the waistband measurement right here. So I'm going to mark this right here. Then from here, I'm going to extend it to the 1/2 inch measurements across the dart lines. So now you're done with marking the front part of your shorts. I'm just going to go ahead and draw this out on another paper like this in order to show you how to mark the back part of your pants. You don't have to do this, it's just for clarity purpose for this tutorial. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to extend these lines right here. For the back piece, you're going to lower the crotch line by 1/4 inch right there. Next, you're going to extend this crotch by 2 inches and mark for the back piece. So next, you're going to be taking 3/4 inch in at the hip line and mark it. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and then if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification bell. Thank you. Then on the waistline, you're going to be marking in 1.5 inch right there, and then you're going to elongate it, the crotch length, by 1.5 inch. So note that this measurement is for a medium to small size. If you're blessed with a bigger behind, please make this 2 inches so that it will create a more comfortable fitting for you and relieve pressure at the crotch length. Next, we are going to be connecting these lines together like this, and then the next thing you're going to do here is to connect the crotch line this way. From this point right there, you're going to be marking your waist measurement from that angle down to this line you extended before, and you're going to be adding your dart allowance also and your ease to the measurement of your waistline right here. So as soon as you've marked it, you go over to the next level, which is to connect it from that point to this point, creating a new waistline for the back piece of your pant. And on the hip line, you're going to be marking 1.25 inch. Then here at the crotch line, you mark 1 inch. Then here you're going to be marking 1 inch, and you're going to connect these together. Crotch line also, you're going to be marking 1 inch right there. Okay, and then you're going to be connecting these together just as we did for the front, especially if you don't have a hip curve. If you don't have a hip curve, that is the ruler used for marking pants and curve areas, use the same techniques we use for the front piece to mark the back piece crotch line. Now to marking the dart for the back piece, you are going to find the midpoint from this area up right here. You're going to find the mid area of the waistline, then you mark a line there. Next, we are going to determine the length of our dart, and as you can see, I'm going to be marking at 5 inches, including the waistband measurement. So I'm going to be placing my tape right there, and I'm going to mark 5 inches right there. Then the next thing I'm going to do now is to share the dart measurement in between this dart line, and I'm going to extend it just like I did for the front piece. So next, I'm going to cut out my pattern, both the front piece and the back piece of my pants. As you can see, I'm keeping this tutorial basic so that everybody can follow. It's not quite complicated. It's a simple way of marking pants. There are a variety of ways to mark pants, but this is one of the easiest way of marking it. So here I've merged both the front and the back piece together. As you can see, these lines are not of equal size. This is to make sure that these crotch areas, they match with each other while sewing. So to ensure that, you have to measure it up to make sure that your pattern aligns to each other. Next, we are going to go over to marking the pockets. Now I'm going to mark out the side pocket, and this paper I'm going to use for it is about 10.5 inches long, and I'm just going to put it right here and trace out the sides of my pants. After doing that, I'm going to place it at the side of the waistline and I'm going to mark in 5 inches. Then the next thing I'm going to do now is to extend that 5 inches down to the bottom part of this pattern right here. Then you can choose to leave that side of the pocket straight, or you're going to curve it out like this. Whichever you prefer, you can do. I'm going to curve this out. With this piece I've cut right here, I'll go ahead and cut 3 more. That is 2 for each side of the pocket. So here I'm going to be placing 2 under the sides of the pants, and I'm going to go in by 2 inches along the waistline. And then for the length of the pocket, I'm going to be marking 6 inches for it. Then when I'm done marking this 6 inches right here, I'm just going to curve along this line up to the waistline. Then I'm going to go right ahead to cut this out. So now I'm done with marking out the pockets, and the pieces of our pockets are ready, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So this is what it's going to look like at the end of the day. So here the front piece and your pocket piece are ready, and this is it. You have this 2 for each side of your side pockets. So when you're done cutting this and you place it under each other, this is how it's going to be looking. Okay, then for the complete set of the short, this is what it is. I have a tutorial already on how to cut the waistband of your pants, and I'll put the link on the description box below. So if you are interested to learn how to make this waistband for this pant, make sure you check the first comment or the description box below of this video to find a link to it. Then we're going to go over to sewing proper. Next, you're going to be placing your pattern on your fabric to cut out your fabric. So I've added my 1 inch seam allowance at the sides of the pants, as you can see right there, and at the back is where my zipper will be. So at this back side of the zipper, I've added 1.5 inch seam allowance, and I centered it to about 7 inches down. Okay, then on the crotch line for the front piece, I've added just 1/2 inch seam allowance right here, and at the pocket side too, I added 1/2 inch seam allowance for sewing in the pockets. So don't forget to fold in your hemming allowance and retrace it before you cut it out on your fabric. Next, we are going to cut out the pocket pieces. These are the pocket pieces, and I've cut out 2 pairs of this. Okay, so as you can see, I've also added the seam allowances for the side seam. So you're going to do this for both pockets, and the bottom part of the pocket right here already has seam allowance, so you only get to add only the side seam allowances and also the pocket size seam, which is about 1/2 inch as we have on our front piece. So here is the waistband, and remember you can find the tutorial for this in the description box below. So here the back piece, I've already added the zipper allowance right here, which is 1.5 inch, and at the side seam I only added 1/2 inch seam allowance. You can add more if you wish to. Then the full length of my waistband is about 2 inches long, and I've added 1/2 inch seam allowance both at the upper and lower part for sewing. You can extend the length of your waistband if you want a higher waist pant. So here we're going to go over to sewing proper. Now to start off, you can start off with sewing in your darts before your pockets, but let me show you how to sew in the pockets. So you're going to put this right side to each other, okay, and sew on at the pocket area. As you can see here, I've placed it right there, and I'm going to sew it along this part. After sewing this, the next thing I'm going to do now is to notch these areas that I've sewn to ease the tension while turning it over. Next, I'm going to sew on the other piece of the pocket by placing this on top of this, facing each other right side to right side like this. I'm going to slide it under it like this, and I'm going to sew along this inner part, stopping right here. So when I'm done doing that, I'm going to show you how to turn this over, which is simple. You're just going to flip it this way to the front piece, and your pocket is ready. So the next thing you're going to do is to arrange this properly like this, okay, and then you're going to sew it on this side. You can top stitch this area and then stitch to the waistline. Next, you sew the crotch line of the front piece together. Then this is it. You set this aside. So for the back piece, you're going to sew on your dart, and then you're going to pin the zip areas. Then from the crotch line, you're going to sew it with 1/2 inch. Then you hem both the front and the back piece at the bottom side. The next thing, you join the inseam and you sew along. Then at the side seams, you're going to join both together. Then when you turn it inside out, it should look something like this. Then you're setting this aside. Now we're going to sew the front piece of our waistband. You lay this first, then you lay the interface on top of it. The next thing you're going to do is to sew the top areas together. Then after sewing it and notching the upper part, you open it like this. Then you bring the back waistband, lay it on top of the front piece, right side to right side, and then you sew it on the side seam. Now
we're going to make the belt holder for our pants. So this is the strip of fabric I'm going to use, and this is about 12 inches long, and then the width is about 1.5 inch. So I'm going to fold this into 2 right now, and I'm going to stitch it together. So after stitching it together at this area with 1/4 inch, I'm going to show you how to turn it inside out. Now you're going to need a needle and a thread to do this. And to do this, you're simply going to put your needle across the seam line. Then you're going to use the bottom of the needle, insert it into the channel. Then you take it out towards the other hole like this. I'm going to illustrate this in a moment. So you keep pushing it out till you get to the other side. Do this carefully in order not to puncture your finger, okay? And I encourage you to double the thread on your needle so that it will be strong enough while turning in the fabric. The next thing you're going to do now is to use the bottom of the needle to drag in some pieces of the fabric into the hole like this for about 1 or 1.5 inch in. Then from the other side where the thread is, right there, you're going to be drawing it out from that area. As you can see, it is folding in and coming out from the other side of the channel. So once you're done doing this, we're going to use this to create the belt for our pants. Next, I'm going to be cutting this into 4, and I'm going to be placing it on my pants beside the dart area like this, okay, and at the other side, and I'm just going to do the same for the back side too. Now after sewing in your belt holder, you're going to sew in the waistband of your pants onto your pants, and you're just going to pin it all around at the appropriate place, sew around, and then you go ahead and sew in your zipper. Now the next thing you have to do here is to sew on your belt holder onto your waistband by folding in 1/2 inch like this, and then sew it to the waistband. And when you're done doing that, the next thing you're going to be doing now is to give this zipper area a good pressing so that it relaxes well. The next thing I'm going to do now is to form the fabric belt for our pants, and this is about 6 inches width, and the length is about 3 inches the waist circumference. So the next thing I'm going to do is to fold this into 2, stitch it up at this area with 1/2 inch. Then I'll put both heads together. Then I'm going to slant it like this to create a curve for the belt. Then the next thing I'm going to do now is to use the same technique I used for the belt holder to turn this inside out. Now to finish off the belt, I'm just going to gently fold the tip in like this, okay? I'm just gently going to fold in about 1/2 inch in, okay? After folding it in, you're going to hold it up with stitches. You're going to stitch along this area on both sides, and your belt is ready. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you think about this project on the comment section below. If you are new to my channel, thank you very much for coming. Don't forget to subscribe and like. I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye.